Welcome back to the Demon Slayer Gamer channel. We're going to be continuing our Final Fantasy XIV Dungeon Guide series. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Alliance raid released in patch 6.5, Thaleia. This is going to be the last of the Alliance raids in the Endwalker expansion. Starting off, it doesn't matter which path you take here in the fork, they all lead to the same path. But it'll lead you to your first group of ads here. There's actually very few ads in this raid compared to some of the others. But for the serpents, you'll just pick them up and AoE them down. They die very quickly. They do have large circular AoEs that they do throw out that you'll just want to move out of. After these die, then there will be 2 Tritons that spawn along with several Divine Sprites. Again, just pick them up and AoE them down. The Divine Sprites and Water Sprites are going to explode whenever they die. This will cause party-wide damage that you'll need to heal through. And then each of the Tritons has cone AoEs that they can throw out that you can actually interrupt, making it very easy to avoid.
It shall be my pleasure to welcome you personally.
After that pull, we'll be going directly into the first boss. For Thaleia, when you pick him up, he'll cast Cataracus. This is going to do party-wide AoE that you just need to heal through, along with applying a damage over time debuff on all party members. So it will require a bit of healing over time also. I'll then move to the center of the platform and cast Regenesis. This is going to create a copy of himself on one side of the platform. That will then move backwards over the water and begin channeling a large knockback along with party-wide AoE. So you just want to move towards the side of the platform that the ad was spawned on. You can use any sort of knockback prevention at this time to avoid the push. Thalipsis is going to do party-wide damage. You'll just want to group to split. And then go back to the center of the platform and begin casting either left or right bank. This will do an AoE on the left or right side, so you just move to the opposite side. He'll then follow up with the other side directly afterwards, so you'll just rotate sides after the AoE goes off. Hydroptysis is going to do a circular AoE on several Alliance members, so you'll just want to spread out to avoid overlapping these and hitting other party members. Raiton is going to do a line AoE on all 3 tanks, so tanks will want to position away from everyone else. And then do Tetrachitis. This is going to cut off the outside of the platform, just leaving a triangle in the middle. This will be divided into multiple triangles that will begin having symbols on them that will grow. Once the symbol reaches the full expansion of the triangle portions, it will explode. The small ones will only cover a single triangle. The green ones will cover 4 separate triangles. And then he'll start summoning boxes on top of the triangles that eventually the walls will fall, causing AoEs where each of the walls fall. So you'll just want to position away from these in the openings. If you are hit by any of these, you'll just receive a damage over time debuff that will just need a little bit of extra healing to keep you alive through. He'll then cast Regenesis Petrine. This is going to summon the ad on the one side of the platform again that she'll want to move towards to avoid the knockback that will come shortly. This time he'll also summon waves on one side of the platform, so you'll need to either move towards the north or south portion of the platform to avoid the waves that'll hit you, dealing additional damage and knocking you down so that you'll be out of the fight for a little bit. He'll then cast Hieroglyphica. This is going to put AoEs on every portion of the platform except 2. That he'll then do a rotation of either left or right, causing the platform to rotate. So whatever the safe zones look like, they're actually going to rotate either to the left or right. He'll then do another Hieroglyphica. This time combining it with either right or left bank. So you'll want to position on the side that is opposite of this AoE, along with whichever location the Hieroglyphica will be rotating into. You will have a short delay after the Hieroglyphica goes off to still avoid the right or left bank if you pop your sprint and run quickly. After this, he'll go back into another Tetrachitis. Again, it'll start off with these single triangle AoEs, and then going into the ones that will cover 4 triangles at a time. And then followed by the Tetrachitis Cosmos, which will summon the boxes on certain triangles that will then allow the walls to fall. This time it will start off doing 2 at a time. And follow this up with another Raiton Tank Buster.
Well done, wise children.
And then just click the portal to head into the second boss area.
Have you got the stones to face the navigator? Come on, don't keep me waiting. Let me prepare a suitable stage for our union. I'll teach you the ways of navigation.
For Lemillion, whenever you pick her up, she'll begin casting Tempest. This is just going to do party-wide damage she'll need to heal through. Seafoam Spiral is going to do a large circular AoE around the boss, so you just want to get under her. And then followed by Wind Rose, which is going to do a circular AoE that you'll just want to move away. Navigator's Trident is going to do a AoE on 50% of the platform on either the left or right, and then the opposite side right afterwards, so you'll just need to reposition in between these AoEs. Boss will then go to one side of the platform, doing a large knockback from the center. This will also open up one side of the platform that she'll need to position towards. Then go to the center of the platform, casting Wind Rose, followed by Surging Wave. You want to get close to the purple AoE but not be inside of it, while standing inside of the green line AoE. If you are not in the green line way, you'll be pushed into the waves on the outside of the platform when you are pushed back. Once this happens, you'll need to pop your sprint and run as quickly to the boss as you can, as the waves will begin crashing behind you and will instantly kill you if they catch up. Once you get close to the platform, the boss will either cast left or right strafe, and you'll need to position on the opposite side for this. And then casting Deep Dive, which is just going to do a party-wide AoE that you'll want to group to split the damage for. So then begin casting Torrential Tridents. This is going to summon a trident on 6 different portions of the platform. Each of these will do a small amount of AoE damage whenever it lands, and then begin glowing in the order that they land in and explode in large circular AoEs. So you just want to stand on top of the last one that fell, and then reposition on top of the first one once its AoE goes off. She'll follow this up with a multitude of circular AoEs on the platform, along with several circular AoEs on different party members that you'll want to just spread out to avoid overlapping these or hitting other party members with.
I trust you don't mind if they play too.
She'll then go to one side of the platform, casting Denizens of the Deep, which will summon 2 serpents that will disappear inside of the waves. These will then start casting large line AoEs across the platform in front of them. So when the boss goes to the middle and begins casting Wind Rose, you'll want to move away from her so that you are also avoiding the line AoEs from the adds. The adds will then pick 2 more areas that they're going to blast across the platform in, which leaving 1/3 of the platform available for you to stand in, while the boss casts either left or right strafe. While this is happening, the adds again will shoot across the platform, so you'll need to position yourself away from these, and then avoiding several circular AoEs afterwards. You'll then begin to cast God's Bane, which is just going to do party-wide damage and will need to be healed through. This does apply a damage over time debuff, so we'll need a little bit of healing over time. Follow up with another Navigator's Trident for the left-right AoE, followed by the knockback AoE in the center of the platform. This time it will also be at the same time as the serpents will be shooting across the platform. So you'll either need to find a safe location that you can be knocked back and avoid the AoEs, or use some sort of knockback prevention to avoid being hit into them. You'll then go to the center of the platform, casting Seafoam Spiral, so you'll want to get under the boss, and then another Surging Wave, making sure that you're inside of the green line of the AoE. This time, while you are running up to the boss, to begin to cast AoEs on the left or right side of the platform, you'll just need to rotate back and forth to avoid these. And then when you get close, she'll cast either a left or right straight. Then the adds will come back onto the platform and begin casting Hard Water while the boss casts a Deep Dive. So this will be 3 different group up AoEs that you'll need to stay grouped up to split the damage for. After this, the boss will cast the Torrential Tridents again. So check where the position for the first Trident that falls is, and then position on top of the final one and reposition onto the first afterwards. Then you'll have several circular AoEs after this, along with circular AoEs on several party members.
To seek new horizons, you must come together as one. It falls to you and yours to navigate the seas ahead.
After all this time, it feels strange calling to you thus.
After another quick jog, it'll bring you to the 3rd boss in this area.
For making it this far. Not long now, till our journey together must end.
Start out the fight with Sudden Downpour, which is just going to do party-wide damage. And then go to the center of the fight, casting Trek Shot. This will put an arrow on one side of the platform that the boss will actually jump back to, doing the Trek Shot from that location. So you'll need to move either to the left or right of the arrow location. He'll then cast Reproduce, which is going to summon a copy of himself that will cast Trek Shot. So you'll move to either the left or right of the arrow again. And then go to the center of the platform again, casting another Reproduce. So again, same thing, check the location for the Trek Shot from the ad, and move to either the left or right side. The boss will then go to the center of the platform and then cast Flinted Phone. This is going to do a group up mechanic that will hit several times, so you'll need to stay grouped up until this is done casting. He'll then jump in the air, casting Soaring Minuet. This is going to do a large cone AoE around the boss that you'll have to get behind him to avoid. He'll then cast the Arrow, which will be a tank buster on all 3 tanks with a small circular AoE around it, before casting another Reproduce. This time it will summon 2 ads. You'll want to identify the location of the 2 arrows, and then pick the corner of the platform between these 2 arrows. Follow this up with another Sudden Downpour for AoE damage. Before going back to the center of the platform and casting Downhill. This is going to do multiple circular AoEs on the platform, while the boss casts Climbing Shot, which will do a knockback from the center of the platform, so you'll want to avoid being hit into these AoEs. You can use knockback prevention at this time, which will actually help you out a lot, because after this the boss is going to do a Soaring Minuet, which you'll need to reposition quickly behind him, follow up with another Flinted Phone, so you'll want to group up and stay grouped up until this is done. Once the boss gets down below 50%, he'll begin casting Lofty Peaks. This is just going to do a bit of AoE damage and then change the platform that you are fighting on. The boss will reposition to the north side of the platform and get all of his health back. Pit and Pull is going to do 2 AoEs on the platform that will explode into large circular AoEs. The safe zones are always opposite of each other, so we got the front left and back right first, and he'll then rotate doing the opposite sides, so then the safe zones were in the front right and then back left. He can do either one, so you'll just have to check what the positioning is. He'll then cast Altitude. This is going to do green circles across the entire platform that will disappear quickly. You need to memorize the open location between these green circles, as shortly afterwards they will each have an AoE that will land on them. He'll follow up with another Flinted Fawn, which is for the group up AoE. Before doing a Wandering Shot. This is going to do an AoE down the center of the platform that you'll want to avoid being hit by, and then do a large AoE either in the front or back of the platform. So you'll want to move to the opposite side of where it is showing. He'll then do the opposite side. So if the first one was in the front like ours, then it will be in the back next time. Followed by another, the Arrow Tank Buster. This time the AoEs are about double in size, so you'll want to make sure you're getting away from the rest of the party members. I'll then do Arrow Trail, which is going to do several arrow AoEs down the platform that will move slowly across the platform Make sure that you're not repositioning into a different section until the arrows pass, as they do sustain damage the entire time that they are passing over the platform. At this time, there will also be circular AoEs that you'll need to avoid. He'll then cast another pit and pull, so reposition it into one of the 2 openings, before doing another downhill, which is going to do circular AoEs across the platform, before doing a wandering volley, which is going to do a knockback from the center of the platform, along with an AoE either in the front or the back. So you'll want to avoid the AoEs that are on the outside from downfall, along with the AoE that's in the front or the back. He'll follow up with another pit and pull, so move to either of the open locations. And then doing another flinted phone for the group up AoE. He'll follow this up with another of the arrow tank buster. And then another altitude.
Sweet soul of parting. I beg you, stay the course to the end.
Now this will bring you into the final area where you'll have a few more trash pulls before the final boss. For this first pull, all of the small ads can do a circular AoE underneath themselves that you'll just want to move out of. The big ad can do either a donut AoE around him or a cross AoE underneath him. Both of these are interruptible, so you'll just want to make sure that you're interrupting this and moving out of the circular AoEs from the others while you AoE them down. These ads, on the timing for their abilities, you can only actually interrupt every other one. So you'll need to have 2 people interrupting if you want to interrupt every ability. So physical range DPS, make sure that you're paying attention and helping interrupt. The next group will just be 3 of the large ads. Every time they do their AoEs, one of them will do the circular AoE while the other 2 do the cross AoEs. So again, each tank pick up 1, group them up so that you can AoE them down, and then physical DPS help out with the interrupts in your group. It'd be easiest if you can set it up to where tanks always interrupt the first time, which is kind of their job, so let them do it. And then physical range DPS interrupt the second cast, and then back to tanks for the third.
The will of the star has entrusted the future to you and yours. As entities charged with ensuring life on Aetheris, we rejoice in this outcome with all our hearts.
Tis time, beloved children. Time to bid farewell to we relics of the past.
For the fight against the 12, I hope you remember the mechanics from all of the previous Alliance raids, because you will need to recall something from each of the bosses during this fight. The boss will start off with its own mechanics though, so you'll have an introduction to the boss's mechanics by itself before it starts throwing in the old ones. Dawn of Time is just going to do party-wide damage that you'll need to heal through. Boss will then go to the center of the platform and begin casting first, second, and third form. During this time, you'll need to check the positioning of the hands that are going around the boss, along with the direction of the arrows. The boss will always travel along the line of the arrows and then facing that direction. So you'll need to watch the positioning of the hands and base it on the direction the boss will be facing to know which side the AoEs are going to be happening on. Then go back to the center of the platform, begin casting another first, second, and third form. Again, check the positioning of the hands along with the position that the boss will be facing whenever it moves along the platform. I actually make a mistake here, but it should have been on the left side of the line for both the first and second one, and then when the hands move in a circle like this, you'll actually want to get underneath the boss. So it should have been on the left side and then move to the left side of the arrows again and then underneath the final circle. Sunbeam is going to do a tank buster on all 3 tanks, so you'll just want to mitigate this as much as you can. Then the boss will move to the center of the platform, casting the Whirl, and this will be the transition into whenever it's doing the abilities from the other previous bosses. So you'll start off with a large bit of damage on all party members that you'll need to heal through, along with casting Love's Light, which is going to summon the moons from the Menfina fight. So you'll need to check the positioning on which moon is going to light up first once they begin to wax, and then rotate around the platform in the order that these are going to shoot AoEs across the platform. Follow up with a solar fans. So you'll want to get close to the boss on one side, wait for the fans to stop, and then position into the opening between them. So if the fans are on the north and south side of the platform, then you want to be standing either on the east or west side to avoid the large AoEs. Follow up with a hydrostasis. This will always have the time effect attached to it. So the third AoE is going to become number 1, and then number 1 will become number 2. So if you stand next to number 3, allow it to go off first to push you towards number 2. And then the safest bet is to always pop your knockback prevention at this time. You cannot use it before the first AoE goes off, or it'll wear off before the third AoE happens. So allow the first push to happen, then use knockback prevention to avoid the second and third one. You'll then need to group up to split the damage for Destructive Bolt, and then move towards the openings on the platform, wherein there will be a Hieroglyphica, which is going to rotate either to the left or right. When this happens, the boss will also use Hand of the Destroyer to either punch the left or right side. So you'll quickly need to identify if they're punching the blue or red side and move to the opposite one to avoid it. Matron's Breath will summon the 2 circles on the platform, either gold or blue, and you'll need to stand in them to avoid the shrinking AoEs. There is no set order that this can happen in. I've got a different one pretty much every single time that I've run this, so you just need to pay attention to what color is going off at what time and reposition in between them. Follow up with a torrential tridents, so identify where the first one is falling and then move to the last one. This AoE is a bit larger than the span towards the other trident, so make sure that you're standing behind the final trident and then repositioning afterwards. You'll then have another destructive bolt, so group up to split this damage. Followed by Biragot's Strike, so you'll want to get next to the blue knockback effect while standing in the intercardinal sections to avoid the lightning that will come out afterwards. Then the boss will follow up with Thousand-Fold Thrust, which will do a large AoE on either the left or right side of the boss, so you'll want to position yourself to the opposite side to avoid this. The boss will then cast As Above, So Below, so you'll need to check which color the platform kind of has on it, either blue or red. If the outside of the platform looks blue, then that means that the blue AoEs are the ones that are going to go off, so you'll want to position yourself so that the knockback hits you in line with the red ones, and then reposition behind the boss to avoid the soaring minuet. Eudomen Eorzea is going to do multiple sets of party-wide AoEs, so this will just be a large healer phase while you burn through some of the boss's HP. This will transition the platform back to the fight for the first portion of the boss fight, where they'll begin casting the first, second, and third form. We got the circular hands for the first form, so we want to position underneath. Then the hands are on the left side for the second form, so we want to go to the right side of the line. And it's on the left side for the third form, so again we'll stay towards the right side of the final line. Follow up with a Sunbeam Tank Buster on all three tanks. Before going back to the center of the platform and casting the Whirl to transition back into the other phase again. This time she'll start off with the Torrential Tridents. So identify which one will be landing last so that you can go stand behind it. And then once the first AoE goes off, you'll reposition on top of it. Follow this up with a Solar Fans. So again, stand relatively close to the boss, so if you need to reposition, you can do so quickly, but just wait for the fans to stop. And then stand on the opposite corners of the platform. Follow this up with a Biragot's Strike, so stand at the inner cardinal corners to avoid the AoE afterwards. Followed up with a Thousand-Fold Thrust, so again move to either the left or right side of the boss that does not have the AoE on it. This will be followed up with a Destructive Bolt AoE, so group to split this damage. Then go back to the center of the platform, casting another Matron's Breath. Again, check which colors are going to be spawning in which order. It is always 2 of each color, so that's the only consistent thing that I've found between them so far. Follow this up with another hydrostasis. So position close to number 3, getting pushed towards number 1. Again, I found the easiest way to approach this is to pop your knockback prevention after the first knockback. But this should be it for Thaleia. I hope this helped everyone out. If it did, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you on the next one.